Welkom bij deze presentatie. Oh, sorry, it's in English. Welcome at this presentation about the history of Axini. It's by popular demand. Many people like to know how did Axini come into existence. Here you see us a couple of weeks ago at our 11-year anniversary in Mallorca, which I can recommend to everyone. In 2007, Menno Jonkers and me founded Axini. Here you see the pictures of us signing the contract. But before that, things happened. There were triggers why we started Axini. Somewhere around 1996, we found out that the cost of test and integration, which is also, Gartner calls it hardening, is really high. We noticed that around 60% of the cost in a software project is in test and integration. So basically the development team thinks everything is done, is correct, but still testing and fixes needs to be done. And of course in 1996 this was in waterfall projects, but nowadays in agile projects you basically see the same thing. Test and integration costs a lot of time and money. Because of that, I looked into unit testing, keyword-based testing. Remember, these are the 1996 till 2000. That's when these technologies came into being. Kent Beck had just released his book, Extreme Programming. And I noticed that the technology looks promising, especially from a test execution point of view. Once you have everything up and running, you can execute your test cases automatically. But what you see is that it creates an unmaintainable test suite. If the test suite gets big, you need to have a lot of maintenance to keep it running, which basically results in a second IT project for test automation. So I found out the hard way that that was not a feasible approach. In the meantime, Menno was becoming an expert in software engineering, was doing a lot of programming, leading software teams. So that was what led up to before Axini was started. Then I met people at the University of Twente, especially at Bringsma and Jan Tretmans, and they said, hey Michiel, we have really researched this topic, model checking, model-based testing, and they convinced me to do my PhD in model-based testing, which you here see pictures of me getting my PhD. So I really wanted to apply this in practice. And there's a lot of theory behind model-based testing. So it's not something that was invented yesterday. No, already in 1956, there was a guy called Moore. He wrote a paper, Gedankenexperiments, in which he basically described, hey, if you have a model, a state model, you can use it to generate test cases. Well, more people jumped on that bandwagon. In the 80s, you had a whole, well, I might say, explosion of research on process algebras like CSP, CCS, Lotus, which created the fundamentals, basically the mathematics for correctness of software. At the University of Twente, where I got my PhD in 1996, they got a project called Code to Resist, in which Jan Tretmans worked with a team of scientists to, amongst other things, develop the IOCO theory. So IOCO is a notion of correctness, input-output conformance. And they also created a tool, one of the first model-based testing tools called Torx. So on top of that research, we in 2007 started with model-based testing as Axini. We looked at several ways to apply this modeling, this formal modeling, to benefit from this mathematical notion, because you can apply it to code generation, you can apply it to model checking, checking the correctness of your designs. But we noticed that in practice, there were many people or many organizations that said, no, Michiel, we really see that we have a testing problem, and can you help us with test automation? So that's what we did. And then in 2015, we also started with the code generation part, which we call model-based working. So right now it's 11 years. On the left hand side you see the start. We were still young and I still had all my hair, so to see. And on the right hand side you see our 11-year-old anniversary, or the anniversary when we were 11 years old, with part of our software development team. And that's in short the presentation of how we created this model-driven platform that we have to document designs, to fully automatically test software, and to generate applications. And I thank you very much for watching this video.